Welcome back, Truth Seeker. This morning, when the news broke that Chuck Norris had become deceased a day after the headlines of him being hospitalized, I rushed out a video this morning. You guys thought it was all right, but there's a lot more to the story. And like I said, look for the celebrity deaths to come as the March Madness tournament rolls around. And now here, Walker, the Texas Rangers, dead, and the Texas teams are 5-0 in the March Madness tournament. Keep in mind, a couple days before he died, Kiki Shepard of Texas, who went to Howard, was announced dead the day of the first playing games. And who won the first two playing games? Howard and Texas. So Texas teams are now 5-0. The Texas teams were 4-0 the day of his death. His death announced today. Texas Tech had one of the first games of the day, Patrick Mahomes School. They won. So Texas teams now 5-0 with the death of Walker, the Texas Ranger. And we're going to see also where his death in Hawaii factors in with him being part of the birther conspiracy when Obama is supposedly born in Hawaii. And of course, Hawaii got wasted by Arkansas yesterday, which is Clinton State. And Clinton was the Democratic president before 8 years of George Walker Bush, which was then followed by Obama. We're going to put all this together because it is all part of one big sick script. And plus everything else you guys observed. Shout out to Frank the Truth Tank, who had a good observation about Bruce Lee, who brought Chuck Norris into the acting world. But yeah, I just want to remind you guys about this one last year. Tomorrow will be the 1 year anniversary of George Foreman's death being announced. And last year, you can watch my video from his death. I said, no doubt his death is for the Houston Cougars, who tomorrow will get their 42nd tournament win. And they did. Big George equals 42. Like they say, George Foreman's grilling machine cuts 42% of the fat. Of course, that's the number stamped all over Black history. But then the next day, the Houston game played out. And you see how George Foreman, who died at 76, one of those numbers coded all over Black history. You see how he fought in 81 fights and he won 76? If you're on a cell phone, let me zoom that way in. George Foreman, 81 fights, 76 wins. The 68 knockouts will come back to, too. But the very next day, the day after his passing, Houston just happened to win their game 81-76. And this stuff goes on year after year if you pay attention to just how scripted the games are. There's been a huge death announced related to the tournament every single year on March 21st or March 22nd, going back a number of years. We'll see if there's another death in the next 48 hours. Maybe they went a little bit earlier this year with Chuck Norris on March 20th. But this is a major trend. And it's sad how people don't catch on to the patterns. But yeah, here we're going to recap everything I touched this morning and then get into the rest of it. Again, Chuck Norris announced dead at 86, which also means he's in his 87th year of life. And this is the 87th March Madness tournament. The number one team in the country has a coach born in 87, John Shire. But yeah, 86, to get 86, the blood sacrifice number, human sacrifice, blood sacrifice, 86. They saved the news of his death for the 79th day of the year. Murder 79, like his actual birth name, Carlos Ray Norris. Again, I know it drives some people nuts that I have to bring this up every thing, but the reality is this topic, even though I've been educating about for 13 years straight, there's always somebody new here, and they're looking at something like this right away, and they're like, wait a minute. How do you get these values? Again, 4 base ciphers of the English language, alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. Turn the letters into numbers, add up the word like a mathematical equation. Also running the alphabetic order in reverse, and both orders with numerology applied. It's a really simple system. You got to know all 4 ciphers to see the totality of these rituals. But yeah, we talked about his wife being announced dead, his ex-wife, just days before the 67th anniversary of their marriage. That was at the end of last year. Again, they got divorced in 89. Chuck Norris is dead a span of 89 days from her passing. But yeah, just shy of their 67th wedding anniversary did she die. Diane Holchek. And blood sacrifice and human sacrifice, 67 and 86. Again, in the base ciphers, Chuck, 46, 19, 89, 26. His death is synced with Jason Momoa, who's in the new Wrecking Crew, which was Chuck Norris's first film roll, being in the wrecking crew of 1968. But Chuck, 46. Jason Momoa, 46 right now. Chuck, 19. Dead on the 19th. Chuck, 89. His wife, who he divorced in 89, dead a span of 89 days from her death. Chuck, 26. Dead in 2026. And dead shortly after his birthday. Walker, Texas Ranger, his most known role. Again, came out on Rome's birthday in 93, ended May 19th, 2001. By the way, that's the 139th day of the year, and Chuck Norris equals 139. But you know who was in office from 93 to 2001, right? Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton. We're going to talk about that with the Hawaii-Arkansas game yesterday. Again, Obama from Hawaii, Clinton from Arkansas. Chuck Norris was very vocal about the birther conspiracy. But yeah, Chuck's died 33 days before the anniversary of Walker, Texas Ranger. Very special number. I'm sure you saw the, who's the Hispanic gentleman who just got accused of grape 33 years after the fact. That's also in the headlines at this time. I know they renamed a boulevard in my hometown after him. I can't even think of his name right now. I'm from Portland. But anyway, Hollywood, 33. Chuck Norris began his acting career in 68, died on 68 date numerologies we'll get to. That's a huge basketball number, just like how there's 68 teams in the March Madness tournament now. But yeah, Chuck Norris, 68, just like George Foreman had 68 knockouts, and they used him for the basketball ritual last year. But yeah, look at Chuck Norris and Freemasonry in the base ciphers. The highest degree of Freemasonry, 33. They venerate the number 33 because of the 33 bones in the human vertebrae. So yeah, Chuck Norris. And again, Walker, Texas Ranger literally ended on the 139th day of the year. Chuck Norris, Freemasonry, the exact same in all these ciphers. His acting career began in 68, which was 58 years ago. This is one of those perfect rituals. His number was up. Yeah, the Wrecking Crew came out in 68. The new Wrecking Crew just came out this year. And probably not an accident that it comes out in the 58th year of the Wrecking Crew, the original one coming out in tribute to Chuck, who's now the latest sacrifice. See this all the time. Again, Hollywood puts out a new show that's a remake of an old show, and then somebody from the old show's dead. And you might want to look into who else was on that Wrecking Crew show that's still living, because they might be next. Happens all the time. For another 33, just dead 33 weeks into Jason Momoa's age. Again, he's in the new Wrecking Crew. Masonry, secrecy, federal order, 33. For anyone out there like, how could they get away with killing all of these people? Because they're above the law. Because this is the cabal that rules over us. And that's why they use this code of letters and numbers. It comes from Kabbalah. The belief is this is how God operates. This is how man plays God over man. By the Kabbalistic code of letters and numbers and dates. And yeah, don't forget the 33rd element on the periodic table is arsenic. A good way to poison somebody and get away with it is arsenic. Also, dead on the 78th day of the year, Momoa 78, as in Jason Momoa, who's 46. Genesis 46 is about sacrifice. I think I misspoke in the last video. I think I said Genesis 33. Genesis is the first book of the Bible. The 46th book of Genesis, or the 46th chapter, I should say, the 46th chapter of Genesis is about sacrifice. By the way, did you guys see my work on LeBron and the King James ritual yesterday? 260 points in that game, like there's 260 chapters in the New Testament. What a script. Gave it to you for free before game time, paid 2-1, why LeBron was going to get that 45th win for the Lakers in the King James Bible tribute. Miami 45, like Holy Bible, like it was published in 1611, the King James Bible, the year King James turned 45. What a script. And realize Chuck Norris is dead the same day as that ritual, huh? But Chuck Norris, 68, like basketball, like Catholicism, like solar system, like mathematics. Again, we're on the Catholic Church's calendar. We're speaking the Catholic Church's language, English. All of this was put into a system in the 16th century. The first March Madness was the Catholic school of Villanova, where the first American Pope went to school, Pope Leo XIV. But first March Madness was the Catholic school beating the Jesuit school, Georgetown. These things are no accident. And yesterday, here were the winners. First game on the slate, TCU beats Ohio State, and they won with 66 points. Texas is 66. Remember, that was a 35 Thursday game. If you're new here, Thursday equals 35 and 46. Ohio State got their 35th loss in the tournament all time. and their coach stayed on 46 wins, which is also a big March Madness number, 46. March Madness 46 and 71 like Catholic. Okay. Texas A&M beat St. Mary's. Texas. By the way, Texas is ranked 42. They improved to 42 and 42 in the tournament yesterday, beating the BYU Cougars, who have a double 42 connection. BYU Cougars is 42, and run it in reverse, Cougars is 42. For the record, we thought Texas A&M would win yesterday. Obviously, the Chuck Norris news wasn't out there, so we didn't have any of this to work with. But we saw that if Texas A&M won, it would set up Houston to then beat them, which will be tomorrow. Houston will get their 30th win of the year and likely en route to at least their 31st win. But, Texas A&M, TCU, Texas, and then Houston, who was a huge favorite, wins with 78 points on the 78th day of the year, giving the Idaho Vandals a beatdown. And look how much they won by, right? Houston, again, for those of you guys who know the guy that went by Rambo, you remember his fallout was doing a decode on Houston, and he came up with this one time that 31 came up in the time of Houston in the time of some astrological symbol, and he said that's why they did that there. And I just had to interrupt the decode, and I said, well, Rambo, they do 31 rituals with Houston in sports almost every single day of the year. Doesn't really matter what astrological period it was. And he got all grumpy on the stream. But it's like, dude, you can't make it seem like a Houston and 31 thing is rare. Remember when they killed the guy from Migos? He was with his 31-year-old uncle, and then they arrested the shooter 31 days later. Again, that's why we call Houston the 31 city. It's just relentless. And by the way, Houston was sitting on 31 wins last year when George Foreman died, and then they won the next day and picked up their 32nd win. But Houston wins by 31 yesterday. Go figure. And then first game in the slate today, Texas Tech beat Akron. And if I'm not mistaken, their next loss in the tournament is 31 as well. And they do face Alabama next. But my initial thought was Texas Tech would win, but then we saw the LeBron Akron thing. Had Akron won today, they would have been 30-5 like the Miami area code after what LeBron did. But obviously this Texas thing is trumping it with the death of Chuck Norris. Again, the Texas teams are now 5-0, and this stuff goes on year after year. Again, Kiki Shepard from Texas, who went to Howard, dies, and Howard and Shepard both win. And by the way, how many points did Howard win with? They won with 86 points. The blood sacrifice number, they won 86-83. Blood sacrifice 86. We'll come back to that 257 too, because Walker, Texas Ranger, died on the 257th day of George W. Bush's age, who, by the way, is 79 years old right now. They saved the news for the 79th day of the year. Again, murder equals 79 and 83 when Howard won that game the day that Kiki Shepard died. Again, they won 86-83. And notice it said Shepard spent 15 years as part of the rotating show on Showtime at the Apollo. That show came out, by the way, her full name equals 206 like March Madness, Kiki 68 like basketball, born on the 15th. Texas has that 15 connection. But, Showtime at the Apollo came out in 87 tournament. Chuck Norris again dead at 86, but that means he's also done his 80. My internet cut out there. I was talking about Kiki Shepard and pointing out that yesterday Howard played their last game of the season 118 days before her upcoming birthday anniversary. Again, her full name 206, 118. That's how perfect these rituals are year after year. That's how these people get chosen. It's how their numbers come up because their numbers line up with the ritual. But yeah, it was also their win, Howard winning the first game of the tournament 185 days after the anniversary of Showtime at the Apollo, the show she was in that came out in 87. Basketball, Catholicism, mathematics. And She died 121 days from her upcoming birthday. The other blood sacrifice number. Howard Bison. She was announced dead on the 76th day of the year. Part of that slave code. Just like last year, they killed George Foreman at age 76, who won 76 fights. And she also died on the 59th day of Steve Harvey's age, who's part of that show Showtime at the Apollo. Remember, George Foreman lost his daughter 59 days from his birthday. He dies at 76. Yeah, the news broke 15 days after Howard's establishment anniversary. So that was a sign for Texas. And you know what's interesting? 15 is the fifth triangular number, which means if you had 1 through 5 together, it equals 15. Texas teams start 5-0 in the tournament. So sacrifice from the world of entertainment and sports. It never fails. It happens every time. It's by the numbers. We call it before it happens. We write it out in spades. We show you the same redundant patterns, and the masses continue to go, well, I would have believed it if you would have said it would have been Chuck Norris. And that's because they got room temperature IQs. You know, they got room temperature IQs. By the way, if you go back and watch my video on the death of his ex-wife, I did say his number should be coming up because he's about to turn 86. We know what that means. And yeah, by the way, shout out to some great commenters from the chat. Jared Bailey versus the World pointed out that Walker, Texas Ranger, aired on the anniversary of the Bush family buying the Rangers. So Walker, Texas Ranger, we saw it debuted on Rome's birthday, April 21st, 93. The Bush family bought the Rangers April 21st, 1989, 4 years to the day. And notice they bought it for $86 million. Again, that's Rome's birthday, right? 4, the number of death. Texas teams go 4-0 the day of his death. They're now 5-0 because Texas Tech won their game this morning. And 89, remember his ex-wife, well, that's the year he got divorced, and now he's dead a span of 89 days from his ex-wife who died at the end of last year. From George W. Bush's birthday to the death, 257 days, the blood sacrifice code, and that's also the 55th prime number. George W. Bush won the 54th and 55th U.S. presidential elections. And Trey Hops points out Chuck got married to Gina O'Kelly in 1998 on November 28th, and that's the day that Clarence Gilliard died in 2022, his partner in crime in the TV show Walker, Texas Ranger. And yeah, there it is, the marriage date and the death date. And notice Clarence Gilliard died at 66. 66. The first Texas winning score was 66. And don't forget, this is the 87th tournament, you guys. Number of the beast. 66, 87. There's a certain team that could be playing in their 174th game if they make it to the championship. They could be going for 6-6 in championships. Shout out to Frank the Truth Tank. Pointed out that this year is going to be the 54th anniversary of The Way of the Dragon with Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. Remember, Bruce Lee died in a major Jesuit ritual, as did his son. Bruce Lee died while filming Game of Death, where he fakes his death after getting shot on scene in a movie. Brandon Lee supposedly was killed while filming The Crow. They're both buried next to each other at Jesuit Seattle U. But look at that. It's going to be the 54th anniversary. And funny enough, this ritual, it came 140, Chuck Norris's death came 148 days before the upcoming anniversary of the film, which can be written on 14/8. The word fraternal is 148. Notice the overlap with Thursday, Bruce Lee, March Madness, and Catholic. They all have the 46, like this is synced with 46-year-old Jason Momoa, who's in the new Wrecking Crew. But a lot of overlap numbers here. Catholic, March Madness, Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is the exact same as Catholic in every cipher, in case you're having trouble putting that together with your eyes. Matthew said Chuck Norris' death is a Bruce Lee and Super Bowl 60 ritual. Chuck Norris died 39 days after the Super Bowl played on the 39th day of the year, and Norris equals 39. And Bruce Lee was from San Francisco and spent his adult life living in Seattle. Yeah, trust me, I know he's buried in Seattle. I've brought that up a million times. Him and his son are both buried right next to the Jesuit University. Bruce Lee died on the 201st day of the year, July 20th, 1973. D-Whoop says Carlos Ray Norris, a.k.a. Chuck Norris, has been described as a birther conspiracy supporter and a far-right activist. Exactly. So he is part of that birther conspiracy. Obama's supposedly from Hawaii. Chuck Norris is dead in Hawaii. And again, Arkansas smokes Hawaii. Bill Clinton's state beats Obama's state. The last two Democratic presidents that surrounded the George Walker Bush presidency, where the Bush family bought the Rangers 4 years to the day of Walker, Texas Ranger coming out. And again, Walker, Texas Ranger, it ended shortly after George W. Bush took office at the end of Bill Clinton's term. 93 to 2001 were the years Clinton was in office and the years that Walker, Texas Ranger ran. Also, Arkansas led 22-7 to start the game. There's a lot that can be said about 227. It's number related to the mathematics of pi. There's a lot to it. But it is interesting that Arkansas led 22-7 early, and the game was 227 days after Obama's birthday. Barack Hussein Obama. And from the death to Bill Clinton's upcoming birthday, 153 days, Jesuit Order 153. So is the Illuminati. Again, Bill Clinton, Jesuit educated like Trump. Obama brought into politics by a Jesuit priest. And Bill Clinton went to Georgetown. Georgetown equals 42, like he was number 42. Trump went to Fordham. Sharon Tate, she went out in an infamous way. She died on the day, leaving 144 days left in your like Jesuit order. But Sharon Tate was in the wrecking crew. She died on August 9th. Those were the Manson murders, right? Sharon Tate, Charles Manson. On August 9, 1969, members of the Charles Manson cult brutally murdered actress Sharon Tate, who was 8.5 months pregnant, and 4 others at Cielo Drive in Los Angeles. Remember, Los Angeles, California equals 89. And Charles Manson, he died by the code, the murder code. Remember that happened right as I was putting the finishing touches on my book, but my first book. But yeah, Sharon Tate, 8-9, right? And now here we are with this 89 ritual with Chuck Norris and his ex-wife. She was Freya Carlson in the wrecking crew. Just out of curiosity, I just want to see Sharon Tate, 121, like blood sacrifice. Freya Carlson. Freya Carlson's interesting, the 187, because Chuck Norris died on the 187th day of the Pope's age. Notice it's 56 and 187, like Society of Jesus. We talked about these numbers yesterday with LeBron's ritual. Excuse me. It's a play on Pythagoras. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce your play on Pythagoras. 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 However you did it. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. But great observation. He said they saved the death for the 20th day of the 3rd month. Kind of like 203. Walker, Texas Ranger, did run 203 episodes. Again, just the same kind of ritualism and patterns over and over. The numbers in their death are the numbers connected to what they're remembered for. And I mean, we only have over the last 13 years, probably a couple thousand examples at least of things just like this. I mean, March Madness tournament, I'm a broken record every year. Every time a sports championship rolls around, I'm a broken record. And I noticed that they're bringing out some deaths after the fact. You know, we had to watch out for the kill date. The Ides of March ended up that a young college football player died on the kill date, the Ides of March. Now a Back to the Future actor, they just announced that he died on that kill date. And that's been the trend too with the kill date. And now they're waiting days after to announce these deaths because they know the world's watching. They know a lot of people are aware of these patterns the cabal works by. So a lot of times now they're saving the news from the kill dates. Here, let me just pull this up right here. This Rex Colpeck. What? Is there? Oh, sorry. I thought I was doing something crazy. The kill date was the Ides of March this year. The date numerology was the kill date. Let's see here. Yeah, they've added a lot more here, but I'm sure a lot of these are interesting. I'm just trying to pull up the young football player. Did they not put him on here? Where is he at? They said his. His death. They didn't even they didn't even add his death to this list. I'm surprised. Rex Culpepper of Syracuse died on March 15th. And let me see. Back to the Future actor dead. Matt Clark, known as Chester the bartender, dead at 89. 89, something going on. Something going on this week. Matt Clark. Oh, here. Died on the Ides of March, born November 25th. That is the day leaving 36 days left in the year. So he would have died 110 days after his birthday. He directed a film in 1988, like all the time travel. Oh, you know what? That's probably it because Biff Tannen's character is based on Trump, President 110. Of course, President's also 47, like time, like Trump, like it's about time travel. Trump also 88. Trump's got a lot in common with the Beast, the fake headshot on the 13th in tribute to Revelation 13. So, yeah. I'm surprised they didn't add this football player. They said that he had a dirt bike accident, did Rex Culpepper. He died at 28, you guys. What are the kill date numerologies? What makes the kill date the kill date? That it has the numerology paths of 64, 44, and 28. Dead at 28 on the kill date. Supposedly a dirt bike accident. I mean, I doubt that's what happened. Dirt bike. He played at Syracuse. Dirt bike. Are you kidding me? Dirt bike accident 74. Dead on the 74th day of the year. You know, killing 74, stabbing 74. The Ides of March. Remember the killing of Caesar by stabbing? Give me a break. Just like that Kiki Shepard dead right after at age 74. For people in the chat going, so who wins the March Madness tournament like we have anything to prove? You've never seen anybody in your life call both teams in the winning score before the tournament began like yours truly, and we've done it. We've had a many great predictions with the tournament over many years. Of course, all the world of sports. Again, if you're not on my Patreon and you want sports predictions, you're essentially what we call a buster. You're what we call a loser. So if you want intel about the tournament, you should be on the Patreon. We've been covering it all year. I always like when losers come around and act like we have anything to prove. I have zero to prove to any of you. A better resume of predictions across all the board, from what's coming in the news, sports, elections, all of it, than anyone you've ever seen in your life, and it's not even a contest. People come around, oh, we'll predict something then. What more do I need to predict, moron? The fact that you weren't looking for the truth and you didn't find my channel a long time ago is on you. Okay. So who's winning then? Did I not give you the Miami upset yesterday? That paid plus 200 more on. Where were you yesterday? You should have patted your pockets and you should have been on my Patreon this morning. That's where you should have been. Okay. You were too busy watching ESPN yesterday. I saw ESPN's bet show. They said the Miami Heat were a lock yesterday. They said the Lakers were tired from 2 tough games with the Rockets. That's how they get all the gamblers thinking that's how it works. That's not how it works in the Nothing But Actors League. It's rigged outcomes, predetermined all day. Thus, 260 points in the King James Bible game. There's 260 chapters in the New Testament. All right. The link is dropped. if we don't have anybody else that wants to share something, I got other things to do. So going once, going twice, going 3 times. I'm almost out of here. Somebody did ask me to look into the death of Eric B. and Rakim's Eric B's daughter's death, of the hip hop duo Eric B. and Rakim. I was like, I didn't realize that happened. I think I covered this years ago. Once I looked at it, I was like, wait a minute, that happened back in 2020. It happened in March 6 years ago. So she did die at 28. We already know what's up with that number. Kill 28. It's sad how these celebrities, they got to watch a lot of times their children go. Yeah, I covered this way back when. For the person who asked for me to cover Eric B's daughter, this is an old post on my old website from 6 years ago. Eric B, 28. Eric Barrier, his name, 107, the 28th prime. The news broke on St. Patrick's Day, 86. She was supposedly dead in an 18-wheeler accident. 18-wheeler, 86 and 67. This is why I get frustrated, too, educating about this and people thinking everything's a coincidence. I've literally talked about the same patterns thousands of times. Thousands of times. And also, I kind of get frustrated by how inept people are. Like, they don't know how to use a search engine. Like, they don't know how to go to my website and type in the search box. That gets annoying, too. You don't show up in people's YouTube feed anymore because you're shadow banned, and then they don't watch your videos anymore because they're that lazy, because all they do is just click on what comes up in their feed. They're like the robots that YouTube wants them to be. They know society, how inept they are. Yeah, just don't put them in their feed anymore and they won't watch. We know how these cattle graze. All they eat is what's in their feed. Take it out of their feed, they'll never click again. It's that simple. You see it all the time. People come up, man, I didn't watch your video for 6 months. I forgot. Yeah, I know. Another one of the cattle out there. Some people that pop in here, hey, man, can I get a sports pick for free? Nope. Not anymore. You could have got a whole bunch 5 years ago. Not anymore. Now you can support the work. Yeah, she also died on a 59 date numerology. So there might have been a March Madness connection here at the time. I might have overlooked that with the 118. That's the big March Madness number. Would have been around the same time the tournament was popping off. 71, March Madness. I bet this was a March Madness thing. I probably didn't even connect the dot back then on that, sadly. But yeah, I see the March Madness numbers there. Or actually, no, it couldn't have been, because that's the year they canceled the tournament due to cooties. They canceled the tournament due to cooties. And remember all the 28s with cooties. It was 28 galore. Okay. What's up, Marco?
Hey, what's going on, Zach? Yeah, no. Lately, I see what you've been saying about the Dome of the Rock, but as of today, there was a little hit across the walls of Jerusalem. So we're getting closer to that date. And it might even be sooner. When you say it's June 3rd, I was like, man, it might even be sooner with the way things are working up right now in the Middle East. But like I said, the next thing I'm watching for right now is any involvement from these Middle Eastern countries, namely Saudi Arabia.
They're saying something hit the Western Wall today?
Yeah. No,
really?
Not the Western Wall, but it went beyond the walls of the old city. So we're talking about, like, I think they were saying something like, 350 feet or something like that from the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So I said, guys, it could be sooner. When you mentioned June 3rd, I was telling myself, like, that's really pushing it. I think it might even be sooner than that. Now, I do want to tell your listening audience, because they should know about the Jesuits. Look it up on Google. When Arturo Sosa was there in December of last year, he came back to the General Curia and he said Jerusalem is calling. Look that up. It says Arturo Sosa, Jerusalem is calling. The way I see it, when Arturo went out there, it's some final plays as to getting ready for the temple. And people need to understand the real purpose of the temple. They are the Society of Judas. They're going to summon Judas from the pit pretty soon. And that's going to be the beast that desolates the temple, that says he's God in the temple of God by the middle of the tribulation. But yeah, no, they're getting things ready. And like I told you, when I was in the presence of the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, the Cardinal from the Vatican of Jerusalem, I actually asked him the question: is it rare for the Jesuit general to go to the Holy City? And he's like this: yeah, it's pretty freaking rare. He's like, only 3 Jesuit generals have ever been to Jerusalem. He said the founder, before he created the order. He said, he also mentioned Adolfo Nicolas was there, and now Arturo Sosa recently. He's like, so it's a rare thing for the Jesuits to go to, the Jesuit general to be in Jerusalem.
And here, don't bring this up, I just got to remind people, Israel established May 14th, 1948. Superior General born November 12th, 1948. And that's a span of 183 days. And Superior General equals 183. And if you put a "the" in front of it, the state of Israel is 183. And, of course, order out of chaos, 183.
Yeah. And listen, I was just recently in Rome. I just went to visit the Mother Church of the Jesuits, and really across the street, it was cute. You know, you go across the street and there is the Scottish Rite Masonic Lodge of Rome. And I got some nice pictures of it. And I just couldn't believe what I was watching. Also, another thing that I actually took note of when I was at the Mother Church of the Jesuits, at their altar, right below it, they have a skull and bones. I was like, oh, look at that crap. Never noticed that before. There's certain things I never noticed about the Vatican until I went to go visit it recently. And I was just there from like February 23rd to March 1st. I was there during the start of the war and everything. I was in St. Peter's Square during the night that the war broke out. It was kind of wild, just pondering all this stuff while I was in the great city. Remember, the Vatican is the way God writes the Vatican in the Bible it's highly specific, because I also went on a tour of the Vatican's necropolis where they also showed us the sun god image of Helios. And I said to myself, well, I know what that is, because truly, as I like to teach, what the Vatican is Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. But the woman is a city. And in Revelation 17, it says, this is the woman, but that woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. They reign today in the times of the Gentiles as the final Gentile world kingdom of iron and clay as we head to the end. And, you know, when I was at the Vatican, I was also looking at like images, like as you step into the damn thing, there's a dragon right over your head. As soon as you walk in, there's another dragon. I'm just like, dude, this is ridiculous. There's certain things I never noticed, and I've been covering the Vatican since like 2010. But that's why, Zach, when you came across my feed and I looked at you, I said, wait a minute, how does he know the Vatican runs the show? Does he know the Bible? But you showed it as to how they do it by the numbers with the devil's mystery of iniquity. But they do run the show. Their time's almost up. They know their time's almost up. And that's why they jabbed everybody up for what's coming. But another thing I wanted to add in regards to the visit to the Vatican is they mentioned that underneath the Vatican is the oldest. When I was on the tour, the tour guide said this is the oldest Roman representation ever found of the sun god. And what I tell people, when I saw this, I was like baffled. But also to the idea that they said this is the oldest representation of the sun god. And that's what I tell people, that Mystery Babylon is the religion of the devil that worships the sun, because the sun is the lake of fire, and whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Lake of fire equals 56, transgressor equals 56, perdition equals 56, but whoever's not written in that book is cast into the sun. And that's after the second resurrection, after the millennial kingdom coming up. But I do tell people, Mystery Babylon worships the sun, S-U-N. And that's also shown to us in the book of Ezekiel, where they said they turned their back to the temple of the Lord and they worship the sun on the east. Another thing that I also noticed while I was at the Vatican, it faces the freaking east. All right, so it faces where the sun rises, literally. But the other thing that I was going to mention about my visit to the Vatican that was rather interesting is, you know, when they brought up the idea that the tomb of St. Peter is down there, I was tripping, because I then looked at the altar of St. Peter that they call quote unquote St. Peter. But then here's another thing that never caught my attention until I was there. Down the dang staircase, as you go into this altar of St. Peter, so-called, underneath that main old canopy in the basilica, is a bunch of dragons on the side rail of the freaking stairway. So again, you know, I went into the Vatican knowing what it is, and it was just rather interesting to see some of these dragons that I never even knew about until I actually got there. I was like, man, look at these damn dragons. But it's definitely part of the Great Dragon's central temporal place of command, the command central, you could say. But the other thing was this. I was going to go back to Revelation 17. When it comes to the Vatican, the way the Bible writes about the Vatican is highly specific. And I was reminded when I was on tour at the Vatican, they said the Vatican is on Vatican Hill. Vatican Hill is not. They even, these are official Vatican guides. And they're saying the Vatican Hill is not part of the original 7 mountains of Rome. And I said, that is how highly specific the Word of God is. The Word of God says that this woman is a city and it's on 7 mountains, but it is one of its own mountain. The Vatican Hill is its own little hill. And I was on it, by the way. I went to the necropolis. I went into the gardens. I went to the general curie of the Jesuits. I went to their mother church. I was checking all that crap out. And then, you know, like I said, I was catching. I even found out that the Vatican has a bunker at the top of the Vatican Hill in the garden area. I said, damn, I never see. These are things that I never knew about until I went on some of these tours. They were like, there's a bunker up there. I was like, because they're ready for the rage. I'll tell you that much. But yeah, no, listen, when that person said that the Vatican Hill is not part of the 7 of the original 7 mountains of Rome, that is how highly specific the Word of God is. The Word of God says that this woman is a city arrayed in purple and scarlet for the bishops and the cardinals, full of names of blasphemy like Holy Father, and it sits on 7 mountains. It's not one of the 7. It's its own hill, but it's on the original 7 of Rome. I said, that's how highly specific that word is, man. Either way, I did want to get to your audience about this too, because I just like I'm still watching for a couple things here. I'm waiting to see if Saudi Arabia with the prince starts to get involved because their oil facilities keep getting hit. I don't think that the beast MBS is going to be waiting around for a little bit longer. I think he's probably going to get involved soon, but I want to see it as to what capacity he gets involved with Iran. And the other thing is seeing if there's any movement on that front, but also still paying attention to how the devil's mocking the crap out of people that still got the COVID jab. Remember last time we talked about Muse, that rock band? They just came out with a brand new music video and a song called Be With You. And at the end of this particular music video, they show you the total solar eclipse again. And that comes 500 days before the eclipse of the century coming up next year. But it's based, they have a new album coming out. They have an album called The Wow Signal. And, you know, a lot of people like to think about 5G and this pulse and the signal that they're going to put out. But this particular album is named after a signal that was captured in 1977 from Ohio University about an alien contact. And like I've told my audience, the COVID jab is the fulfillment of Daniel 2:43 with the iron mingling with the clay, okay? Just like it was in the days of Noah. Back then, they mingled, they produced the giants of old, what people call the Nephilim. Now, they're mingling, but it was via the jab. And we're about to see what really happens, because at the end of it all, it's all going to dovetail with this alien deception, okay? The 3 unclean spirits that look like frogs that are really the spirits of devils of Revelation 16. We just came out with a brand new film from last year. It's for free on our website, beingjustified.com. It's called 3 Unclean Spirits. And it connects all this crap that we're about to live with the beast, with the jab, with the freaking supernova event. Because what Muse shows you at the end is how the freaking total solar eclipse and the corona starts taking over these 2 people that just look into the light and then just start, you know, falling into the light essentially. So we still have that event coming up. And what I like to tell people is the COVID jab was not the mark of the beast, but it was it's going to be an event that then forces the world, most likely through the rage. The Bible talks about the heathen rage, the kingdoms were moved, and we see about that zombie rage, 28 years later. So I think we still have that event coming. That's going to really shake the world. But the real purpose of that is to force us to the arms of the beast coming up. But you can see, I'm just like, man, is anybody questioning the symbolism of this total solar eclipse anymore? Like, they're still bringing it up. Muse, in their last music video called "Be With You," and it's pretty dark, by the way. It's pretty. This I want you to understand. Muse is a rock band that also came out with another song called "Won't Stand Down," and it's about Judas. It's about the return of Judas. He's gonna come back, but he's gonna control everybody that got the COVID jab. And they show you in this music video that Judas is coming with a mask on, and then he gets connected to everybody and he controls them. And then they all start moving like robots. That's what's going to happen with the jab. But it's going to be, and again, remember, who really promoted the jab? That's all, what I call the Jesuit Corona juice, okay? And the Jesuit Corona juice, it's on the loose. And pretty soon, man. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Speaking about the Vatican, there's a new movie with Anne Hathaway coming out called Mother Mary, and she's symbolic for Mother Babylon. Mother Babylon equals 201. That's why I like to reference her as Mother Babylon now. But they literally have a film called Mother Mary, and it's about Anne Hathaway portraying herself as Mother Babylon, the city. But she just came out with a song. She says, "I'll kill you slowly." What the freak is the song called again? I forgot about this song, but either way, I'm looking forward to this video or movie because I want to see what else they're going to try to show us in this thing. But my thing is this, okay? The Vatican knows their time is up. They know their time is up. One thing, there's nobody, you could probably add yourself to this list, but there's no one that wants to see the Vatican burn more than me. But I do know that there's 10 kings that are going to, have it put in their hearts by God to render judgment to that whore. The whore of Revelation is what I call her. And pretty soon she's going to be burned up in a literal hour. And when I was at the Vatican on Friday and Saturday, I read Revelation 17 in St. Peter's Square, right in front of the Vatican. I also read Revelation 18 the following Saturday when the war broke out, right in front of the Vatican. But I just want to see now when it's going to be blown out, because it'll probably have to do something with some date numerology of me reading that there. But I was telling myself, has anybody ever read Revelation 17 and 18 at the Vatican? But I do have that on our website as well. But it was, I'm looking forward to it. They know their time is up. And like I showed you, there's that song called Imagine Dragons, where they have a song called Wake Up, and they're basically telling people to wake up. But the context of that song is that everybody's coming for you. Wake up. Bodies piling up. I'm waist up. So I would imagine the rage is going to hit a lot of people. There was what the hell's her name? Grimes, one of the baby mamas of Elon Musk. Her name is Grimes. She's like some sort of witch that does a bunch of music. But she recently was interviewed by Time Magazine, and she told Time Magazine, "We have a massive depopulation event coming up." And I'm assuming when the COVID jab takes over, it's COVID-19 is COVID AI. And when the AI takes over, they're going to rage. I would imagine they're going to rage. And that's the massive depopulation of it that chick is talking about. They know what's coming. And Elon Musk one time said that AI is going to one-shot the limbic system coming up. And that's because COVID AI is under the skin of 70% of the world, but it's going to one-shot the brain. It's good. And that when you look at the Grok logo, that's the Singularity logo. They're going to split the limbic system with this event coming up.
Interesting times. Appreciate the intel, Marco. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, have a good one. All right, we got is it Gotten, and then we got Randy. Gotten or Gotten?
What is this problem of you disrespecting black people?
Who?
What is your issue with black people saying that we're ignorant? We're not ignorant. It's your people that's ignorant.
Are you on the right channel? Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you, Cracker. I'm talking to you, Zach.
I didn't know I said that. I said black people are ignorant.
Yeah.
Really? When did I say that?
Yes. That's you, Cracker. That's freaking you that said that. His racism towards black people, and you try to help black people.
When did I say black people are ignorant?
You said that a few years ago.
I did?
Because it doesn't really matter.
I don't think I ever said that.
to help out black people. When I get an ignorant black person, that's you. That was your words.
No, I don't think I ever said black people are ignorant. I might have been talking about a specific ignorant person. They might have been black. But.
Well, you talking about all of us. You're not talking about one. You're talking about all of us. You disrespecting my race. You disrespecting me, Jack.
No, I think you're highly confused. I think
No, cracker.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, troll. Let's see. Let's get Randy on here. Randy, do you agree with that? Have I said black people are ignorant?
Nah, man. I mean, I don't know what that guy's talking about.
He's got
But
to be trolling.
yeah, he definitely was trolling. But I was gonna point out that with this whole thing with the Hawaii coincidence stuff and him dying in Hawaii and the new Wrecking Crew movie being based in Hawaii and
Is
Jason
Jason Momoa from Hawaii?
Yes, I was just about to say yeah, he's from Hawaii. Yep, he's from Hawaii. That's where he was born.
It's blatant how they do this stuff because I
It's
doubt
crazy.
Chuck Norris is from Hawaii. He's pretty pale.
But the even crazy part that I just realized too also is that if you look to see the exact location that the Wrecking Crew movie was based in, Oahu, Hawaii. If you Google it right now, Oahu, Hawaii is under flood right now. There's a huge flood going on right now. Like as currently as we speak, it's literally like underwater right
So
now.
they're like purposely wrecking it, like the actual
It's
world wrecking crew is wrecking the island.
exactly. The entire island is going through a crazy. The government just came out saying this is very serious right now. It's going through a crazy flood right now.
It is crazy how they just mock us with this stuff and get away with it. Yeah, I didn't realize that was going on in Hawaii right now.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I mean it's annoying that people think all this stuff's a coincidence. It's just ridiculous.
It is.
The wrecking crew, yeah, as they literally wreck a place, and yeah, that isn't that interesting that that's not really in the headlines. I mean, I guess
It's
the New
not.
York Times had a story on it, but I haven't heard anybody talk. I guess there's just so many things going on in the world right now. It makes you wonder what else is going on in the world right now that's flying under the radar.
I know. Yeah, man. Yeah, this stuff definitely is crazy.
And just the whole 46 thing, because again, Jason Momoa is 46, flooding's 46. The whole
Hmm.
Genesis thing I was thinking about, the biblical flood in Genesis.
Hmm.
On the 78th day of the year, Genesis 78. Also 33, like Hawaii. Hawaii's got that overlap with Genesis too. Actually, it has triple overlap, Genesis and Hawaii.
And I don't know if you noticed too, but also obviously I don't know if you talk about the fact that he was in the Air Force.
Chuck Norris was?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that. Okay.
yeah, he was in the Air Force, and obviously the fact that he also died with 86, and the military term 86 means to get rid of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And today being the anniversary of the Iraq invasion, and today's
Operation
also
Shock and Awe. Yeah, Operation Shock and Awe today.
exactly, and today's also Eid, which is the end of Ramadan, where all the Muslims celebrate.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Man, so yep, all this stuff.
Yeah, that's a really great addition there, Randy. Well done. Well done. While you're on here, you want to promote yourself again?
Oh yeah, no problem. So yeah, my Instagram Randy Randy Consey Konsey.
Yeah. You might as well just put your whole. You might as well just make your Instagram tag when you come on here so people see it.
How do I do that?
You edit your name.
Oh, okay.
So just make it the whole thing is just Randy, so then they can make it even easier for people to go to your page.
Yeah, I'm not
But
sure.
yeah, those are great additions. Those are great additions because I mean that really just sums up that I mean there's all this stuff going on, but there's really the most serious part. They're literally using weather warfare to destroy the Hawaii scene where the wrecking crew is set.
And I definitely think that something might definitely happen to Obama. Probably very soon. I don't know if you saw, but the other day, when Timberwolves played, I think Utah Jazz. That same day, Anthony Edwards posted a video with him and Obama at his house. It was like a commercial advertisement that they did. And then that same exact day, Timberwolves went on to play Utah Jazz, and Timberwolves won with 147 points. like President of the United States. But yes,
And you
Obama's
just
been
had
in the
that death
news.
with Jesse Jackson on Jordan's birthday, who's in all likelihood Anthony Edwards' father.
He's definitely his father. They have the same demeanor and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like his twin.
Literally does.
So, yeah. Of course, Jordan beat Utah in the finals. And the other night when I did the video on Michael B. Jordan, you probably caught it, but I made the point about how Sinners is 98 and it's the 98th.
Yep.
And he was the 6th black actor to win Best Actor, but Jordan did win his 6th ring in 98.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. Yeah, man. And again, it's even when I post about this stuff, people still swipe and say, "Man, this sounds crazy. Doesn't make any sense." And it's just like, the world just doesn't allow people. We are stuck on stupid.
It is crazy how many people act like this is so hard to understand. It boggles my mind. I'm like, this is really elementary. I mean, we're laying it out here for you. It's not like we're doing complicated math. We're adding.
Literally.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, man. So yeah, that was pretty much all I had.
Yeah, great one again, Randy. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No problem, man. Keep it up.
Yeah, will do. You too. Yeah, that's wild. I didn't realize the devastating weather in Hawaii. And you know what? Actually, I think I bet the gentleman in Hawaii. Okay, I don't get enough sleep. A gentleman in Hawaii actually messaged me. Now it's coming up in my mind. He messaged me days ago and said I need to look in the flooding in Hawaii, and I didn't get to it in the moment, and I totally spaced it. So actually, it was there and it was forgotten. But yeah, Randy really connected the dot on that. But again, see, that's the piece where I can be like, what weather warfare? Here, let's see what the Google AI says when you ask it this question. Did the U.S. government ever ban weather warfare? Actually, it answers honestly. Yes, the U.S. government effectively banned weather warfare by signing the International Environmental Modification Convention (NMOD) in 1977, prohibiting the hostile use of weather modification. This followed the secret Vietnam-era Operation Popeye, where the U.S. used cloud seeding to disrupt enemy supply lines. See, I'm glad. I bet you someday this AI doesn't answer that question, honestly. I bet you someday in the future it says there's no such thing as weather warfare. What was it, 2 years ago when I called out how bad the hurricane season was going to be, synced up with The Rock, the former Miami Hurricane. He was 52 years old at the time, born May 2nd, when hurricane equals 52, just like flood, like Enlil, like all that stuff connected to weather warfare. The first admitted act of weather warfare in 1952 on the Jesuit order's birthday. And realize that 77 would have been 25 years later, right? Like flood is 52 and 25. Here, if you guys don't know these things, if you write out Earth, Enlil, flood, hurricane, they all, Earth, Enlil, and flood are almost the identical in every cipher, but they all have the 52. Again, the year The Rock was 52. His birthday's May 2nd. That's when you had those really devastating storms that did a ton of damage that those cities are still recovering from. And both of those hurricanes were perfectly synced with The Rock. He played for the Miami Hurricanes. Don't forget when they burned up Hawaii, the old capital, and they blamed it on Dora, the winds of Hurricane Dora. That was synced up with The Rock announcing the live action Moana, which begins with the trailer of the island bursting into flame. He's Maui, the fire god in that movie. And that when that happens, when I said, just wait till you see what happens when he's 52 next year, turning 52 on May 2nd, and then you had that really bad year. But the point I'm bringing that up is at that time, you had a politician from Florida go on TV. I covered it at the time. We even called his office. I mean, if you go back through my videos, you can find my call to his office. His secretary actually listened to me for a long time. But we saw he was on TV saying people are insane online, pretending like there's such a thing as weather warfare. And then I looked it up. And the U.S. literally did the weather warfare ban on that man's birthday. So they chose the man who celebrated the birthday. And the thing was, he turned 26 years old the day of the weather warfare ban. He represented the 26th district of Florida. And then the point I made about that is they're playing God. That's the God number, 26. But that's how our news media works too. That's like the mockery. They get a guy who turned 26 the day of the weather warfare ban, who represented the 26th district, to go on TV and call people like myself insane for talking about weather warfare. when it is a real thing. And then we live in a world where there's people like my sister who think weather warfare is some kind of stupid, wacky tinfoil hat idea, and only insane people would ever even suggest such a thing existed. And that's how a lot of people are. I mean, my sister is a more typical American by a long shot than I am. And that's the problem with the people in this country. They're really ignorant, they're really dumb, and they're really confident in their stupidity. Their whole it's the what's the motto from George Orwell's 1984? What's the full thing? I know part of it is ignorance is strength. What's the whole thing? Yeah, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. Yeah, there you go. What did the Dow Jones do today? I mentioned this morning that it should be in the 45K range by the end of today for oil. Remember, that was this morning's video if you missed it. We were just barely above 46K. And again, today's the Persian New Year, which is actually when New Year should be, when things are new in the Northern Hemisphere, when the flowers are blooming and all that. It actually makes sense to call it the New Year. But yeah, it's Nowruz or Nowruz, however you say it, is today, which is the Persian New Year. 45 like oil, like IHS. New Year's 110 as oil goes over $110 a barrel. All perfectly manipulated. It's crazy to think how there's so much wealth in so few hands that they can manipulate the markets just perfectly to the points. It's all in their control. It's all in the cabal's control. And granted, since everything is digital, and I mean, there could just be a machine too where they just set it right where they need it to be, and it's just whatever they manipulate the machine to. Somebody just has the switch. Here's what the market value is going to be at this second. Here's what it's going to be at this second. I'll just type it in here for my perfect Kabbalistic ritual. First buzzer beater of the tournament. I haven't been watching the games today. Obviously, I've been trying to keep up with all the stuff. Who got the first buzzer beater? The Pope School down early. Arizona smoked Long Island U as expected. Virginia got right straight. Texas kept teams perfect. Kentucky. It doesn't look like any of these were buzzer beaters today. Maybe I saw that first game went to OT. Maybe that's what the buzzer beater was, to send it to OT. Must have been something like that. Okay, Hofstra. Look at Hofstra hanging with Alabama early. Okay. Watch what Nebraska and Iowa State do together this year. Fred Hoiberg's university he went to, and he's coaching Nebraska. Notice Nebraska had to wait until the year 26 to get their first ever tournament win. What a script. Nebraska also 71 like March Madness. What's up, Gabe?
Hey, Zach, what up?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Did you see what Jaylen Brown said about astrology and numerology?
Somebody called in about it this morning on Patreon. Let's see. Let's talk about that in the public stream. Speaking post-game with Noah Dalzell of Celtics blog, Brown detailed how studying teammates' personalities through astrology and numerology has helped him refine his communication style. I learned a lot about each and every one of our guys, like even down to like astrology, down to everything.
Yeah, and today it happens to be his 666th game.
Is that right? Right before 666th game?
Yeah,
good one.
What a coincidence, right? I mean, they pick him out of everybody.
He's learning how to calculate
the
number of the man, the number of the beast. Yeah. You know what's funny? Did the Celtics play today?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, they're a big favorite. I see it's 140. Look at this. Here is wisdom is how the verse begins about calculating 666. Here is wisdom 147. So he's going to play his 666th game 147 days after his birthday.
Yeah. It's just crazy how this stuff is done.
It is.
With personal life and everything, also in the Ides of March, there's a Roma game in soccer. This guy got his a Roma player, like the Rome. He got his 44th goal 55 days from his last birthday, like Julius Caesar died at 44 BC.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just really mind blowing the way it's done. I mean, not really mind blowing once you've been doing this for a while. It's just they do it again.
Indeed.
They do it again. I wanted to ask the question: what do you think about personal life, man? Like life patterns that add up in your personal life? Because I've always looked at these, the actors in the world stage, but when things happen in
Well,
your
it's the
personal
last
life,
chapter of both of my books. Last chapter of both of my books talks about that.
yeah, just a lot of stuff, Anyways,
Indeed.
Anyways, all right, man. Take care.
All right. Yeah. Good observation, though. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild, guys. Here was wisdom. He's getting into numerology 6. And for Bill, don't know, Revelation 13:18 about calculating 666. 666. In Hebrew, it's called gematria. In Greek, it's called isopsophy. The New Testament was originally written in Greek, but the Sumerian cipher, whoops, wrong way. Hit the wrong button. The Sumerian cipher, multiplying the alphabetic order forwards and backwards times 6. Isopsophy is 666. How to calculate 666 is a Greek isopsophy riddle. Something else. All right, guys, it's time for me to get off my butt and go to the gym and then run a few more errands. Thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. The likes are pretty low for the video, I can see. Thank you to the people who did hit the like. And yeah, appreciate it. When you leave a comment, when you leave a like, when you subscribe, when you share the video, I'm just reading about the things that are supposed to help your channel in the algorithm. I don't really think anything can help my channel. I think it's just buried. But I also read that if you go from one person's video and then you watch a second video in their channel, like right in a row, that's supposed to really help out. But I'm pretty convinced that there's nothing that can help this channel. I'm pretty sure it's just destroyed in the algorithm and it's limited to have really poor showing views. Oftentimes ritual. If you guys noticed that video on the NASA, the 17,000-pound meteor that hit the 17th state on the 17th day, on the 17th day of the state chase. If you missed that video stayed on what, 1.7K views for 48 hours? Like, oh, okay, I'm sure. All right. Anyway, thanks to everyone who does try and help the video out in the algorithm anyway. I'd like to think that we're actually reaching more people than the lousy numbers show, but we'll persist regardless. Till next time, Truth Seeker. Have a good day.